Welcome to the Freedom Club Podcast, where we discover the fight for freedom, fulfillment, passion, and purpose. Your host is Curt Mercadante, Gallup certified strengths coach, an agency founder who is dedicated to coaching individuals seeking to level up their life and their businesses. The Freedom Club is about unlocking your talents, turning them into strengths, and crushing your objectives. You can learn more at curtmercadante.com. Welcome to the Freedom Club.
Happy Mindset Monday, everyone. This is the Freedom Club Podcast. I am your host, Curt Mercadante, and I hope you had a fantastic, stupendous, terrific weekend. I know that I did. And I know that I say this just about every episode, but I am very grateful you are here. And if you listen to this podcast on a regular basis, you know I mean it, because I feel that a daily sense of gratitude is absolutely essential to living a life of freedom and fulfillment. And every time I look at the analytics for the show, I am filled with gratitude as we continue to grow listeners around the globe. And you know, early on, I think I had, it was one of my first months doing this, I had 1,000 listeners during the course of the month. And I was bummed out. You know, I wanted to start and have 10, 20,000 listeners right off the bat. And Neil Hughes, he's a good friend. He's been on this podcast before, tech blog writer. He's one of the top tech podcasters and bloggers in the world, told me, imagine you had an auditorium filled with 1,000 people all there just to listen to you. That's exactly what you have with your podcast, and it's only going to get bigger. And that put things in great perspective for me. But you know what? Even if I only had 1 or 2 people listening to this podcast, if I'm able to help affect in a positive way the lives of those 1 or 2 people, then I'm fulfilling my mission. If I'm able to help just one person on this podcast, them to live a life of freedom and fulfillment, then I'm accomplishing my vision, because my mission in life, my vision for how I want to live my life, is saving the world by helping individuals fight for freedom and fulfillment. So yes, I am absolutely grateful you are here, because you're helping me live my vision. Now, speaking of freedom and fulfillment, today's episode is going to be short and sweet. I'm about to list off a series of questions, and I want you to think long and hard and honestly about your answers to these questions. And then I want you to look at these questions, your answers to these questions, and I want you to determine if they add up to a life of freedom and fulfillment, or if they add up to a life that falls short of the freedom and fulfillment you deserve. First, are your days filled with the things you want to do versus things you compelled to do? Is your health and fitness excellent? Is your relationship with your spouse or partner excellent? Do you spend enough time investing in yourself? Do you merely exist throughout the week because you live for nights and weekends? Have you and your family traveled to at least one place you really want to go? Not some place you have to go for work or extended family, but some place you really want to go in the past year. Do you have a clearly defined vision for your life? If you're married, do you and your spouse have at least 2 date nights per month, whether you've been married for 5 years or 30 years? And finally, do you love your job, and does that job fulfill you? I want you to really honestly consider your answers to each of those questions, and then determine if your responses add up to a life of freedom and fulfillment, or do they add up to a life that falls short of that freedom and fulfillment you deserve. And if it does add up to a life that falls short, what are you going to do about it? Not next week, not next month, not next year. What are you going to do about it starting today? Because my friends, time is a non-renewable resource. And every day you go without a life of freedom and fulfillment, without a sense of that freedom that you deserve, is a day you can't have back. So I urge you to make a change today. Don't keep putting it off today. My friends, this is the Freedom Club Podcast. I am your host, Curt Mercadante. I hope you have a wonderful rest of today, this Monday, and a week filled with freedom and abundance. Thank you.